Hi, it's Congresswoman Jan Schakowsky. I'm back with my plans and pans. Well, this week, many of us, including me, breathed a sigh of relief when Derek Chauvin was convicted on all three counts of the murder of George Floyd, where all of us, the whole world, really saw the 9 minutes and 49 seconds that it took for him to, that is, for Chauvin to take the life of George Floyd. This was, I think, a validation that it is possible in our criminal justice system today to convict people who murder Black people, Black and brown people, because actually what we saw also this week, even as soon as that evening that the verdict came down, was that a 16-year-old girl was shot and killed. She was a foster child. She actually had called the police because some girls were chasing her. And when the police came, by that time, she actually had a knife too. It's a little complicated. But in any case, why wasn't she tasered? Why wasn't there something less than shooting her to death? We have to ask these questions of law enforcement. In Florida, in Hawaii, in Texas, there were other murders of people of color. And so I'm so hoping that the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act will pass the Senate, that we will get enough Republicans to also join us. The House has already done it, to pass the legislation. It's so important for our country and to change this cycle that we've had for way too long. Well, it's Earth Day. Happy Earth Day to everyone. I remember the first Earth Day in 1970, 51 years ago. And that was an awakening that we needed to pay attention. We needed to act on making sure that our climate would be sustainable for human life, for animal life. There were about 20 million people in the United States that celebrated that day. And it wasn't long afterwards that literally hundreds of countries had also joined in. But I want to tell you that we heard from John Kerry, former Secretary of State, who does have a role in the administration on climate, who reported to the members of Congress that this year, 2021, is on track to be the second hottest year in the history of our planet. This is not a good thing. We seem to have been going in the wrong direction. And so we have to finally take this seriously, take this as existential, and as quickly as possible act to save our planet. There is a meeting this week. There are, I believe, something like 40 heads of state that are going to be attending, talking about the climate and how we're going to not only meet the goals. The other thing that John Kerry told us was that even if we meet all the obligations that were set out in the Paris Climate Accord, the temperature will go up 3.7% anyway. So we have to do more than has already been promised. And the United States ought to take a leadership position, not just blame other countries around the world, but set the pace for saving our lives. And I wanted to tell you that I marked Earth Day by introducing, I'm going to read this to you, the Children's Fundamental Right and Climate Recovery Resolution. And what it does, it supports a lawsuit that young people, some of them is under 10 years old, who originally filed what is called Juliana versus the United States Supreme Court case, saying that their fundamental rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, the right to live, was being violated because we have not controlled the climate. And I think it's absolutely true. And I wanted to lend support to their court case before the Supreme Court by introducing that legislation. I also went to a press conference this week in support of the Green New Deal. You know, we have heard a lot about the Green New Deal, and a lot of it is just false. That somehow it's going to cost all these trillions and trillions of dollars to implement, and that, but the reality is we need bold, we need big, we need to make not only the monetary investments, but the investments of a commitment to make sure that we are going to treat this seriously. So I'm very proud to be part of the Green New Deal, and we have over 100 co-sponsors now of the Green New Deal in the House of Representatives. So it is a mainstream idea that lays out a comprehensive resolution of how we move forward. I was happy to join Senator Ed Markey and Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez and a number of other members from the House and Senate are also part of it to support this important resolution. I also wanted to talk to you about a vote that I proudly took today and spoke on the floor about, and that is the DC statehood. We are the only country in the world where the capital of our country does not allow the people of that city to be a state. And so I am was very happy to speak about it, very happy to support. And what we have seen, unfortunately, has been that the Republicans have said things like, it would be a terrible state. They don't have agriculture. They don't have natural resources. No, what they have are 700,000 people who pay federal taxes, who participate in the armed services, give their lives, are there to protect us, and so we definitely, they definitely deserve, like all these other capital cities around the world, to be citizens. 700,000 people strong. It is the classic example of no taxation without representation. And they certainly don't have representation. So, and the other argument they said was that, of course, it's just Democrats trying to get more Democrats. And Jamie Raskin, my colleague, had a good point. We do not decide who gets the right to vote based on how we think they will vote. Everybody should have the right to vote and to be represented by 2 senators, and it would be 1 representative in the House of Representatives for the District of Columbia. So we're gonna just keep pushing to make that happen. This week also, the House of Representatives voted on the No Ban Act, which would have codified the idea that we will not discriminate based on religion of who can come into the United States of America. It was one of the very first things that the former president, I'm not even going to say his name anymore, did. He created this Muslim ban. And I remember running out to O'Hare Airport and talking about how terrible that this was, because every person that was coming from a Muslim country was coming with documentation, either a visa, some were green card holders, and they were being, some sent back, actually deported back to the country they had just landed to come here from, and were held as many as 30 hours. Another bill that said they can't keep them for more than an hour without allowing them access to counsel, to at least making a phone call to relatives, etc. So we passed those two bills, the No Ban Act and the Right to Counsel Act, in the House, that not yet in the Senate, and we are hoping. And I made the point that, you know, I kind of take this personally as a Jew, that religion could be used as a criteria of people being able to come to the United States of America, and cited when a ship was turned around during the Holocaust from the United States of America to death, a ship with Jews in it. We can't have that in the United States of America. I wanted to give you some good news about COVID, and there actually was some, that right now 50.42% of Illinoisans 16 years and older now have received at least one dose of the vaccine, but the cases of the coronavirus are still a problem, and we are seeing some hospitals who are running close to not being able to have more room. Even in the state of Illinois, that's been a problem for some area hospitals. They're seeing a shortage of beds, and we are still seeing somewhat of an uptick in the number of cases. The death count has been averaging about 22 a day. So we need to see the downward trend all across this country before we can say we are out of the woods. We are far from out of the woods. I am still pushing strongly that we have to view this as the international pandemic that it is. I'm going to be meeting next week with the administration and a number of my colleagues in the House to talk about how the United States should take some leadership in helping countries around the world to make sure that they have the vaccinations that they need and the ability to actually produce their own vaccinations. So all these challenges continue. I thank you for letting me be part of that, and fighting. If there are things you want to tell me, please contact my office, and I will see you next week. Thank you for watching my video. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, where my handle is @Jan Schakowsky.